The first time he saw her, she was bleeding starlight onto the metal floor, an alien warrior with armor cracked like a fallen comet. He should have stepped back. He should have waited for command approval. But instead, he knelt beside her, and her eyes snapped open with a warning that chilled him more than the vacuum outside the hull. Human, don't get too close. But how do you not get close to someone you just pulled back from death? And why did she sound afraid of him? Before we dive deeper into this wild encounter between a human medic and an alien warrior who definitely knows more than she's saying, go ahead and hit like, subscribe, and share this story with someone who loves HFY sci-fi as much as you do. It helps more than you think, and it keeps these stories coming. Ready? The corridor lights flickered like they were trying to breathe. Emergency red pulsed over the steel walls, painting everything in the color of danger. The ardent Voyager had been through battles before, but this felt different. Too quiet, too hollow, too many unanswered alarms echoing through the deck like distant screams. Chief Medic Jae-Min Park moved faster than regulation permitted, boots hitting the floor in sharp metallic beats. His pulse wasn't panic, just focused, trained. But he could feel that strange tension in the air, the kind that made people ask questions they weren't ready to hear answers to. The distress beacon had been weak. Alien, a frequency they'd encountered only once before, during a border skirmish that ended with 3 ships reduced to ash. So when the beacon cracked through the static and whispered coordinates near the Voyager's path, the bridge crew had hesitated. Jae-Min didn't hesitate. Someone was alive out there. Someone needed help. The bay doors opened with a heavy groan, revealing the half-molten escape pod lodged inside the chamber, like a meteor that refused to die. Steam hissed as the containment fields stabilized the air. The pod's metal looked half-scorched, half-carved, as if something had dug its claws through it. But what froze Jae-Min wasn't the pod. It was the figure sprawled beside it. An alien warrior, tall, armored, beautiful in a lethal, otherworldly way, lay in a pool of shimmering silver blood. Her armor was cracked open along the side, glowing faint blue where her skin met fractured plates. She looked like a fallen star that had crash-landed in the wrong universe. Jae-Min exhaled sharply. Okay, you're alive. You're alive. Stay with me. He dropped to his knees beside her and checked her vitals. Strong pulse. Breathing shallow but steady. Heat radiating through her ruined armor. Her skin wasn't like any he'd treated before. Smooth, almost metallic at certain angles, but warm. Too warm. A soft rumble filled the air. At first he thought it was the ship adjusting pressure. Then her eyes snapped open, bright, amber, almost burning, and she locked onto him like a predator spotting movement. Before he could speak, she grabbed his wrist. Her grip was weak but desperate, trembling with a fear that didn't match her warrior build. Human, her voice scraped out, low and sharp. Do not get too close. Jae-Min froze. He'd heard warnings before, from dying soldiers, from cornered creatures, but never like this. Never from someone who looked both terrified and protective at once. He swallowed. I'm a medic. I'm not here to hurt you. Her fingers dug deeper, as if trying to anchor him in place or push him away. He couldn't tell. You do not understand, she whispered, breath shaking. If you stay near me, if you touch me, the bond. Her eyes rolled back for half a second, pain flickering across her face like lightning. Bond, he echoed, leaning into spider warning. You're injured. You lost a lot of blood. You're not thinking clearly. She looked at him again, and for a moment, the fear in her eyes shifted into something heavier, resignation. No, she rasped. It is you who does not understand. Then she collapsed, grip slipping from his wrist. Jae-Min didn't waste another second. Whatever she was afraid of, whatever bond she meant, it didn't matter right now. She would die if he didn't act. He pressed a stabilizer patch against her skin. The patch fizzled, sparked, then burned out instantly. What the? Alien physiology. The patch wasn't calibrated for her species. He took a breath. Okay, plan B. He reached for his portable med unit, adjusting settings rapidly. Pulse, temperature, tissue density, chemical compatibility. The scanner cracked, overloaded, but gave him just enough readings to improvise. The moment he touched her again, The air seemed to vibrate. Softly, subtly, like the hum of an engine far away. But it wasn't a ship. It was her. She let out a tiny sound, something between a gasp and a suppressed growl, before her body relaxed slightly beneath his hands. Jae-Min hesitated. "Is this hurting you?" Her eyes fluttered open. She stared at him in a way that didn't match a patient looking at a medic. It matched something more primal, more instinctive, something she couldn't control. Her breath shuddered. "Should not touch me." He offered a calm smile. "You'll forgive me later." He worked quickly, sealing the fracture in her armor, disinfecting the wound with a neutral gel that wouldn't trigger a reaction. The silver blood pulsed softly as her body responded. But then something else happened. Her breathing synced with his. Not forced, not deliberate, natural. Two rhythms falling into place like gears sliding into the same track. He blinked. Okay, that's different. Her hand twitched toward him again, this time not to warn, but to steady herself. Her fingers brushed his, just barely. It was like touching a spark. A warm shock raced up his arm. Not painful, more like the shiver you get when stepping from cold into sudden heat. She tensed. He tensed. "What was that?" he whispered. She closed her eyes. "The beginning." "Beginning of what?" Her voice trembled. "The bond you were warned of." Jae-Min sat back for half a second, breath catching. He'd heard rumors, barely verified reports about her species, Vashtari, known for war, known for honor, known for forming lifelong battle bonds that could shift the course of entire conflicts. But those bonds were only formed voluntarily, and only with those they deemed equals. Yet here she was, trembling under the weight of something neither of them intended. Before he could speak, the ship lights flickered again. A warning siren echoed through the bay, one he knew too well. Hull breach. External pressure spike. Something had followed that escape pod. Her eyes sharpened instantly. "It found me." Jae-Min frowned. "What found you?" She pushed herself up, so suddenly he had to steady her. Her breath hitched to the contact, but she didn't let go. "Listen to me, human." Her voice was stronger now, almost commanding. "You should not be here. When it comes, it will not care if you help me. It will kill anything near me. Then I'll move you," Jae-Min said, already adjusting the stretcher. She shook her head. "No, you cannot outrun it." He met her eyes. "Watch me." A beat. A tension neither could break. For the first time, something other than fear flickered across her face. Respect. Maybe even trust. The sirens grew louder, vibrating through the ship like approaching thunder. Jae-Min tightened his grip on the stretcher. "Whatever's coming," he said, "you're not facing alone." She stared at him for a moment, stunned by the audacity, by the sheer humanity of the promise. Then, she whispered, "The bond has already begun." The bay door shuddered. Something slammed into the hull. And in that moment, Jae-Min realized her warning wasn't meant to protect herself. IT was meant to protect him. And he'd ignored it. The ship shook again, harder this time, like something massive scraped against the outer hull. The overhead lights dimmed to blood-red emergency mode, and every instinct in Jae-Min's body screamed at him to move. But the alien warrior wasn't ready to stand on her own yet, and he couldn't leave her. Her breathing was steadier, but her body trembled with each impact reverberating through the chamber. She tried to rise, muscles tensing like a predator preparing for the kill, but pain ripped across her cracked armor and forced her back down to one knee. Jae-Min caught her before she collapsed. "Easy, you're still healing." Her hand landed against his chest. Instinctive, defensive, but there was something else there too. A pull, a heat, as if her touch recognized him before her mind could. She hissed under her breath. "You should not have touched me again." He half laughed, breath tight. "Noted, but I'm not losing a patient on my shift." Her amber eyes flashed. "I'm not your patient." Another impact rattled the floor. Dust fell from the ceiling. A long, low screech tore along the hull plates like claws dragging metal. Jae-Min steadied her. "Then what are you?" She hesitated, for the first time truly unsure. But the answer wasn't fear. It was conflict, as if she were battling two instincts inside herself. The warrior's discipline and something older, deeper, primal. Finally, she whispered, "I am Vashtari, elite guard of the first star consort. My name is Karin Saturai." Her voice shifted slightly as she said her own name, like invoking a title of weight and consequence. Jae-Min gave a short nod. "Karin, I'm Chief Medic Jae-Min Park." Her eyes narrowed at his closeness. "Do not say my name so casually. You do not understand what it—" Another slam. This time the metal dented inward. Something vicious was trying to carve its way inside. Jae-Min pulled her arm over his shoulder. "We need to move now." She tried to push him away, jaw clenched. But when her fingers brushed his again, her strength faltered, or rather, redirected. Her body leaned into him, not by choice, but by instinct. She inhaled sharply. "Human, stop." This proximity accelerates it. Accelerates what? Her throat tightened. "The bond," she said like a curse. He slowed just for a moment. "You mentioned that before. What does it mean?" Karin's eyes flicked away. "Vashtari do not bond with other species. It is forbidden, dangerous, and irreversible. Reversible or not." Another blow hit the hull, so hard that the wall beside them buckled inward with a metallic shriek. Jae-Min didn't argue anymore. He supported her weight fully now as he guided her toward the far exit. But every step was fireworks, shocks moving between them, tiny, warm pulses like two signals syncing together on the edge of some frequency neither fully understood. She felt it too. He could tell by the way her breath trembled with every touch. "How long do we have before that thing gets inside?" he asked. Karin listened for a heartbeat, her warrior senses sharper than any human instrument. "Seconds," she murmured. The door slid open with a hiss, and Jae-Min half-carried her into a maintenance corridor. The lights flickered, then stabilized to dim blue, better than red, but not by much. They moved down the narrow passage with urgency. Behind them, the bay doors finally gave out with a sound that made Jae-Min's stomach drop. It was inside. Whatever hunted her had breached the ship. Karin turned her head slightly, eyes narrowing. "It has my scent." He swallowed. "Do we have any weapons?" She didn't look impressed. "Your weapons will not harm it." "Great," he muttered. "Love that." She actually huffed, a small sound that might have been amusement, if not for the situation. Then she winced, clutching her side. Silver blood seeped through a crack in her armor. Jae-Min forced them to stop. "You're bleeding through your plating again." "It doesn't matter." "It matters," he snapped, lowering her against the wall. Her eyes widened, surprised by his tone. He tore open a medkit compartment on his belt, pulling out a stabilizer rod calibrated for high-heat injuries. The moment he touched it to her wound, she jerked, not from pain, but from that same strange shock that pulsed between them whenever his skin brushed hers. Her breathing stuttered. "Human, don't. We don't have time for cultural rules," Jae-Min said softly. As he worked, he felt her stare burning into him. Not hostile, not distrustful. Something else. Something she didn't want to admit. He sealed the wound just enough to slow the bleeding. Her armor hummed faintly as it began a sluggish auto-repair cycle. Karin exhaled shakily. "You should not be this close to me." He lifted his eyes. "You said the bond is irreversible. So what does it do? Make you loyal? Telepathic? Bound for life?" She shook her head slowly. "The Vashtari bond is not simple loyalty. It is biological, instinctive, a merging of battle instincts, emotional tethering, and physical resonance." He blinked. "Physical resonance? It means our bodies react." She swallowed. "When you touched me, my heart matched your rhythm. My breath followed yours. That should not be possible." Jae-Min sat back slightly. "Why me?" Her eyes softened for just a moment, a tiny fracture in her warrior facade. "I do not know." The ship rumbled again, closer this time. Something heavy dragged along the corridor outside, scraping against the deck. Karin's expression sharpened immediately. "It is tracking us." Jae-Min listened. 3 seconds of silence. Then, a deep, low growl vibrated through the air vents. He grabbed her hand. She didn't pull away this time. "This way," he whispered. They moved through the narrow pipe tunnels of the engineering sector. The hum of the reactor provided cover noise, but Karin's senses remained alert. Every few steps, She pressed her ear to the wall or listened to distant vibrations. Finally, they reached an auxiliary control room. Jae-Min locked the door behind them. Karin slumped against the control panel, breathing heavily. She looked stronger than before, but still not at full capacity. "Whatever's hunting you," Jae-Min said. "What is it?" Karin's jaw tightened. "A Voidraith." He exhaled. "That's a myth." "It is not." Her eyes turned cold. "It is a creature created to track, consume, bonded Vashtari. It feeds on the energy of the bond itself." Jae-Min stared at her. "So it's not hunting you." Her silence said everything. "It's hunting us." Karin finally looked at him without her usual guarded expression. Something in her eyes had changed. Less fear, more acceptance, or maybe resignation. "You see now why I warned you," she whispered. "Why I kept telling you not to get close." Jae-Min moved closer anyway, lowering his voice. "And yet you didn't push me away." She closed her eyes. "I tried." He hesitated, then brushed a hand against her arm. A powerful warmth surged between them. Her breathing hitched. She didn't stop him. Outside the door, the Voidraith growled softly, almost curious. Karin opened her eyes. "The bond is growing faster than it should." He gave her a small, lopsided smile. "Maybe humans accelerate things." Her pulse synced with his again. She felt it. He felt it. And somewhere in the dark corridors of the ship. So did the creature hunting them. The Voidraith's growl faded into the corridor like a whisper dragged across broken stone. It wasn't loud. It didn't need to be. The quiet ones were always the most dangerous. The ones who knew they didn't have to roar to kill. Inside the auxiliary control room, the lights buzzed faintly above Jae-Min and Karin. The air felt heavier now, as if the creature outside sucked the oxygen from the walls while it listened, tasted, waited. Karin kept her back straight despite the pain radiating through her armor. Her hand hovered near her side holster, only to curl into a fist when she remembered she'd lost her weapon in the crash. Jae-Min angled himself slightly in front of her, even though it was probably the most ridiculous thing he could have done. He didn't have a weapon. He wasn't a soldier. But instinct made him step forward anyway. Karin noticed. "Do not do that," she whispered. "Do not put yourself between me and it." "Why?" She stared at him with a mix of disbelief and something bordering on anger, but not the cold, distant kind. The kind that comes from fear. "Because I'm trained for this. You are not." He met her gaze without flinching. "Maybe, but I'm not leaving you either." Her breath caught, not from pain this time, but something far more complicated. Something she refused to name. Before she could answer, the lights dimmed, flickered, then surged back to life. The room hummed with electrical strain. "It is searching," Karin murmured. "It can sense the bond. It will tear through every wall until it finds us." Jae-Min glanced around the cramped room. Old consoles, a backup generator, storage crates, nothing that could hold off a monster bred to devour Vashtari life bonds. "So what does it look like?" he asked. "Just so I know what I'm dying to." She gave a tiny, humorless breath. "It is not the appearance that matters. Voidraiths are shadows with form. They bend, shift. They are drawn to energy signatures, especially those created by resonance bonds. So it's tracking the connection between us." "Yes." He exhaled. "And our connection is getting stronger." "I warned you," she whispered. The ship creaked again, metal groaning as something scraped along the outer hull. The lights flickered in rhythm with the creature's movement, as if its presence distorted the electrical field. Karin drew a slow breath, grounding herself. "We cannot stay here. This control room will not hold." Jae-Min nodded. "Then we move." He opened the door gently. A cold draft swept in. The corridor was empty, but that didn't reassure him. It only meant the Voidraith was somewhere else, watching from angles humans couldn't see. They slipped into the hallway. Jae-Min supported Karin's weight again, her steps steadier than before, but still weakened by blood loss and half-repaired armor. She tried to pull away. "I can walk." "You barely can." "I said I can." He didn't let go. "Yeah, well, I'm stubborn." Her jaw tightened, but she didn't pull her arm from his. Not this time. They moved deeper into the engineering deck. Pipes ran overhead, emitting a soft hum. The metal floor vibrated under their feet with every distant impact the creature made. Karin's breathing synchronized with Jae-Min's again. She noticed and winced. It is accelerating. He swallowed. This bond. It's dangerous only because the Voidraith is hunting you, right? Not because of what it does to us. Her silence said otherwise. Karin. She kept walking, staring ahead as if the shadows themselves were listening. The Vashtari bond was designed for war. It links two warriors so they fight as one mind. One pulse. One strategy. It amplifies strength. Heightens senses. It even... She stopped herself. Jae-Min gently pressed. It even what? Her eyes flicked toward him. It merges instincts. Permanently. If a Vashtari bonds with another species, the consequences are unpredictable. It is forbidden for a reason. He nodded slowly. But we didn't choose this. No, she whispered. But instinct does not ask for permission. A loud crash echoed through the ship, much closer this time. Something huge slammed into the bulkheads, making the walls ripple. A low, distorted snarl followed, vibrating the air. Jae-Min's skin prickled. It's on this deck. Karin's muscles tensed. Keep moving. They rounded a corner and froze. A thick black mist oozed from a vent at the far end of the hall. It slithered along the ceiling like smoke underwater, pooling into the shape of something vaguely humanoid but wrong. Too thin, too elongated. Its limbs stretched like shadows cast by a dying star. Its head twisted toward them without a sound. Karin stiffened, breath sharp. Do not move. Jae-Min obeyed. The Voidraith slid forward in silent pulses, as if teleporting small distances each time the lights flickered. Its body rippled with starless darkness, its edges dissolving into sparks of nothing. It leaned forward, sniffing the air. No sudden movements, Karin whispered. It reacts to energy spikes. Fear. Panic. Well, great, Jae-Min muttered. That's comforting. Karin's hand brushed his wrist, barely a touch, but enough to steady him. Enough to steady her too. The Voidraith snapped its head toward their joined hands. Karin inhaled sharply. It senses the bond. The creature moved. Not walked. Not lunged. It flickered. One instant at the far end of the hall. The next, a meter away. Jae-Min dragged Karin behind him on instinct. Karin let out a frustrated growl. She was a warrior, being shielded by a human with no weapon, but she didn't push him aside. Not now. The Voidraith leaned forward, inches from Jae-Min's face. Its form warped, reshaping into something tall and slender with no eyes, no nose, just a slit of darkness where a mouth should have been. A cold whisper seeped into the air. Bonded. Jae-Min felt his throat tighten. Karin snarled. Get away from him. The Voidraith's head twisted toward her, then toward Jae-Min. It trembled with anticipation, as if feeding on their connection, savoring it. The lights flickered wildly. Karin grabbed Jae-Min's arm. Run! They sprinted down the corridor as the Voidraith exploded into motion like a physical shadow, chasing its own echo. It chased them through twisting hallways, scraping claws along metal, bending through vents, appearing at corners before vanishing again. Every few seconds it flickered closer, feeding off the growing resonance between them. Karin stumbled once, her injury flaring, but Jae-Min caught her. Their hands locked. A surge of warmth pulsed between them again, stronger than before. Karin gasped. The bond. The Voidraith shrieked, a sound like galaxies tearing apart. It sensed the spike. It wanted it. Jae-Min dragged Karin into a gravity lift, slamming the controls. The lift shot upward just as the Voidraith's claws sliced through the floor beneath them, missing by centimeters. Karin leaned against him, shaking with exertion. It will not stop. It will chase us until the bond is broken or until one of us is dead. Jae-Min looked down at her, breath heavy but unwavering. Then we make sure it's not us. Her eyes softened again, just for a heartbeat. Then the lift jolted to a halt. The doors slid open, and the creature was waiting. Not in front, not behind, above, clinging to the ceiling like a spider made of nightmares. Karin's breath faltered. Jae-Min whispered, Okay, now what? Karin straightened slowly, ignoring her pain. Now we fight. The Voidraith hissed. and the bond between them flared like a star igniting. The Voidraith clung to the ceiling like a nightmare, trying to remember what shape a body should have. Shadows dripped from its limbs, bending gravity, warping the lights around it. Its mouthless face tilted toward Jae-Min and Curran, tasting the bond pulsing between them like a scent in the air. Karin stepped forward despite the pain radiating through her cracked armor. Jae-Min felt the shift, felt the bond tug at him like a magnetic pull. She didn't want him in front of her. He didn't care. He moved beside her instead. Equal. The creature hissed softly, a sound that made the metal floor vibrate. Karin lowered her voice. It is adapting. The closer we are, the stronger the resonance becomes. Stronger for us? He asked. And stronger for it, she replied. Great. Fantastic. Perfectly terrible. The Voidraith dropped from the ceiling in a single, fluid motion, landing with no sound at all. Jae-Min felt Karin tense beside him, and in the same heartbeat, he felt that same tension mirror through his own muscles. Not consciously, instinctively. A shared response. The bond is fully active, Karin whispered, stunned. He didn't have time to unpack that, because the creature surged forward. Karin moved first, despite her injuries, despite the fatigue weighing her down. Her movements were sharp, decisive. Jae-Min didn't think, didn't plan. He just moved with her. Every shift of her stance flowed through him. Every pivot synced between them like choreography they'd never learned but somehow mastered. Karin ducked under a swipe of the Voidraith's elongated limb, just as Jae-Min pulled her back, avoiding the shadow scorch that melted into the floor where her head had been a second earlier. The creature screeched, frustrated, then hungry. Karin flashed him a quick, breathless look. Human, Jae-Min, you are moving as if you've trained with my kind. He exhaled, adrenaline sparking. I haven't. Then the bond is stronger than I feared. The Voidraith lunged again, its form splitting into 3 shadowy afterimages. Jae-Min grabbed a loose metal support rod from the wall, just instinct, and swung. Karin moved with him, guiding the angle of the strike without touching him, as if their minds ran parallel lines. The rod passed straight through one phantom, but the second shimmered, and the third. The rod collided with solid shadow, sending the creature skidding back with an inhuman, distorted snarl. Karin's eyes widened. You struck it. That should be impossible for a human. He tightened his grip on the rod. Guess it didn't get the memo. But the Voidraith wasn't retreating. It was reassessing. It lowered itself to the ground, limbs coiling like springs. Karin stepped closer to him. Human, listen carefully. The Voidraith feeds on resonance. The stronger our bond, the stronger it grows. But there is one weakness. He swallowed. Please tell me it's something we can actually do. Her jaw clenched. The bond amplifies not only strength, but energy. If we synchronize fully, for even a moment, the surge could overload its form. You mean fry it? Destroy it? Jae-Min nodded. Okay, how do we synchronize? Karin hesitated, not because she didn't know, but because she did. And the answer terrified her. Proximity, she whispered. He blinked. Define proximity. Her voice dropped to a near whisper. Closer than this. The Voidraith crawled across the floor in a low, unnatural glide. Jae-Min stepped closer to Karin. Is this enough? No. He moved closer. This? No. He exhaled sharply. Then what? Karin grabbed him suddenly, pulling him against her chest plate, foreheads almost touching. Their breaths merged in the same trembling space. This, she said, voice shaking. The bond ignited. A deep, thrumming warmth blasted through their bodies like a living heartbeat. Jae-Min felt her pulse slam into his rhythm, felt his lungs sync with hers, felt something ancient and dangerous weave between their bodies like entwining starlight. Karin's eyes widened. Do you feel it? He nodded. Yeah. Her hand gripped his uniform. Hold on. The Voidraith lunged, and the world exploded in light. Their combined resonance blasted outward in a shockwave, silent but devastating. The creature shrieked, its form fracturing into ribbons of darkness ripped apart by raw energy. It tried to scatter, to retreat into vents, into shadows, into cracks in the metal. But the surge consumed everything. A final, echoing scream rattled through the ship as the Voidraith's body shattered like glass made of night. Then, silence. The lights steadied. The hum of the ship returned. Karin staggered, the bond fading to a soft, residual warmth. The energy drain hit both of them hard. Their bodies trembled from the aftershock. Jae-Min caught her before she collapsed. Easy, easy. She leaned into him, not fighting it this time. Her forehead rested against his shoulder. You did it, he said softly. No, she murmured, voice weak but steady. We did. For a moment, the world shrank to the quiet rhythm of shared breath. She lifted her head, gaze searching his face as if trying to understand why a human, fragile, untrained, reckless, would stand with her against something even her species feared. The Vashtari bond is not just for battle. It endures. It shapes destinies. And once formed, it cannot be broken. Jae-Min considered that, then shrugged. Good. I'm not going anywhere. Her eyes widened slightly, not with fear, but with something warmer. Something dangerous. Something hopeful. The ship's intercom crackled. Chief Medic Park, report to the bridge immediately. Jae-Min stood and extended a hand to Karin. She stared at it, then took it without hesitation. He pulled her up gently, and as they walked through the battered corridors, side by side, something unspoken settled between them. A quiet promise carved from battle, instinct, and something that felt too close to fate. Karin glanced at him once more and murmured, perhaps this bond chose well. Jae-Min Park, she said quietly. You ignored every warning, every law, every instinct. He smirked faintly. Yeah, humans do that. A breathless, almost reluctant laugh escaped her. He helped her toward a support beam as her legs threatened to give out. Sit. You're still healing. She lowered herself carefully, her eyes never leaving him. The bond will not fade now. He sat beside her. Does that bother you? She hesitated. For the first time since he'd found her bleeding on the floor of that escape pod, she seemed uncertain, not as a warrior, but as a person. I do not know, she whispered. Vashtari bonds were meant only for our own. You are unexpected. Jae-Min smiled lightly. I get that a lot. She studied him, amber eyes softening. You fought as if you were one of us. As if our instincts were your own. Maybe they were. She didn't deny it. A quiet settled between them. Not uncomfortable, just heavy with everything that had happened. Finally, Karin spoke again, voice gentler than before. When I gave you my name in my culture, that act alone begins trust. But now, after this, I do not know what comes next. Jae-Min leaned back against the wall. We figure out together. Her breath caught. Together, he nodded. We survived a monster made of shadows. We can survive a few cultural complications. Karin looked away for a moment, as if hiding a smile she wasn't ready to reveal. There is one thing you do not understand, human. What's that?